Hi everybody, we got a video today to go over all the features of the 1/18th scale asphalt modified car. So we'll offer this car in the same standard three colors. We'll have the red, the black, and the clear. This is obviously the black car here. We will have to increase the price of this car slightly. This car will be at $219.99, where the other cars are right around the $209.99 range. One of the reasons for that is the complexity of the Nerf bars on this car. We wanted to really make those look good to keep the scale look of these cars. So the Nerf bars are a little bit more complex, so we had to raise the price a little bit to cover those. Many of the parts on this car are the same, like all the front suspension is the same as the late model and the modified. The only thing we did do is we went to the coilover shocks on this car instead of the small springs. To keep the authentic look of these cars, and they're a little bit easier to get to, so you can put the spring adjusters in there. But all the A-arms are the same, that type of thing. The radius rods are a little bit different in this car, so we'll have a new radius rod set. We'll have those in the gray and the black. The battery box is the same. All the electronics are the same. The rear end housing is the same. Obviously the tires and wheels are different. These are a smooth tire instead of the tread, more of an asphalt type tire. One thing we did do, because these tires do have a little bit less traction than tires with the tread, is in the box, when you get the car in the little white box, there's a set of soft rear tires in there. So if you're on a surface where the rear traction's not as good, you can put those tires on and it gives a little bit more traction for the car. The one thing we want to mention on this car, the first batch of these cars, there was a slight mistake when the rear gears were made. The gears are just fine, but instead of molding them in black to match the gears that are in the midget, they were molded in gray. So this car does have the same gears as the midget. We wanted to speed this car up a little bit because the tires are smaller in diameter. So we put the midget gears in this. So the motor has the 12-tooth pinion instead of the 10-tooth. But when the rear gears were manufactured, there was a mistake made and they were molded in the gray, similar to what's in the modified and the late model. But they are supposed to be the black gears. We'll make a running change on that at some point. But when you go to order the replacement gears for this, you will order the 1RC 4000 gears, like this one right here, and they are black. So when you're doing, when you go to do any teching or anything like that, make sure you keep that in mind at the racetracks and stuff. We didn't think it was going to, we knew it was going to cause some confusion, but we looked at it in such a way that if you put the white gears in this car, the car will be slower. So racers being racers, nobody's going to want to do that. So we figured, you know what, we don't want to delay the car any longer. We know you guys were waiting on a new car, so we wanted to get it out as soon as possible. So we went ahead with it. But just be aware of that. We'll do another tech video on that to further explain that. But again, it does have the 12-tooth gear on the motor, and it does have the midget gears on the rear end. One of the things that we kept the same, obviously, was the electronics. The servo is the same as the modified and the late model, so it's a metal output gear. The optional servo does fit in this car. The speed control is the same and the receiver is the same. The chassis is all different. As you can see here, we had to do a different chassis just to keep the scale look of the car. We did put the receiver in the back. So the ESC has an extension wire on it to reach back here, and when you put the optional servo in, it comes with the extension wire. You'll need that too. We did put little wire clips back here to put the wires under. If you ever take the receiver out, there is a small little hole right back here for the antenna wire to go through to keep it up off the rear end, so pay attention to that. One thing we wanted to reiterate while we have a car like this with the body off is the motor. So make sure that where the wire comes out of the motor right here, try to get a good shot of that black piece where the heat shrink is, do not bend that area on the motor. Do not bend that wire. If you bend that wire, the wires inside these motors are very, very small, and if you bend that, it can short the motor out. So be very careful not to bend that. Keep that thing straight, don't move it. The wire is obviously flexible, so you can move that around, but don't bend that one area right there. As I mentioned, the servo's the same as the modified and the late model, so it has the metal output. We do have the same optional servo will fit that, and the same servo arm from the optional servo will go on there as well. Let's see, the tires, obviously we talked about those. They're a slick tire. One thing, when you get the cars, you will notice that there may be a little bit of dust on the tire surface. Don't worry about that. These tires, when they're molded, because they're smooth, they're very sticky, the surface is. That's just how they come out of the mold, so sometimes they get a little bit of dust on them. And, you know, that'll just wear off, or you can brush that off, you know, no problem. We will offer the soft version tires for the front and the rear. We both have the standard tires and the soft tires with the black rims and the chrome rims, so we'll have that just like all the other cars. Obviously the body is different on this car. The air cleaner is from the late model car. The driver is the same as all the cars, but the body obviously is, the outer shell is pretty much one piece. It's got a clear spoiler on the back. And then on the interior, when you take the body off, there's some panels on the inside. This panel back here, you can take these two screws out. This panel right here comes off so you can get to the receiver. So if you need to bind it or plug anything in, you can get to that easily. When you take the main body off, there's a panel that goes down the right side of the car. There's one in the center and then a short one on the left here. There's also a clear windshield here, and you can take the covering off of that and all the other body parts. Make sure you take the covering off before you put your stickers on, though. To take the body off, you will need to take the side Nerf bars off, the front Nerf and the rear Nerf. When you take the side Nerf bars off, just grab the car right here and just give them a little bit of a twist like this. And what that'll do is it'll break the Nerf bar loose from the grip of the plastic where they push into the cage, and it'll be easier to pull those off. So just give that a little bit of a twist, and you'll feel it kind of click a little bit, and that breaks it loose a little bit, and then they'll just pull right out. You also need to take the front bumper off. There's two screws on each side. Rear bumper, there's a screw on each side here, two in the back, and then obviously one on this side. When you do all that, there's two screws here, two screws here. The main body section will come off, and there's actually a screw up in the front too. Make sure you take that off too. The main body will come off, then you can get to the inner panels and all that stuff. But you can get access to the speed control down through the bottom again, just like that. I think that's about it for the car, for all the features. Like I said, we tried to keep as many parts as the same as a lot of the other cars, so you don't have to buy a ton of stuff, new stuff for this car. Again, the tires, like we said, they are slick. This is the first kind of asphalt version tire we've done. They are the same compound as the other tires. They do have good grip on most tracks. Like we said, sometimes on certain surfaces they're going to be a little bit, you know, slippery in the back, so you can put the soft version tires on the back. Once the grip comes up in your track or on the surface you're running on, the car, you know, car works really good with the tires and stuff. So if you have any questions on this car, hit us up on our social media pages or send us an email through our website, and we'll get right back to you. Car's a lot of fun. We enjoyed all the testing we did with this car and some of the side-by-side racing. It lends good for good racing. There again, with the asphalt tire, it gives the car kind of a whole new look. Instead of the dirt car, it's more of an asphalt car. We know a lot of people have been asking for something like that, so we figured we'd do this car. These cars are just really cool looking, very well known around the country, even though most of them run up on the East Coast and up in the Northeast and stuff. But you know, a lot of people really love this style car, so it should be a great car for people to have fun with. So there again, if you have any questions, hit us up. Enjoy the car, and thanks for watching.